My name is Britt Schumann-Humbert, registered dietitian at the UNC Wellness Center. I have recently gone blueberry picking. 15 pounds of blueberries that we picked. What we're gonna do today is make a really quick, super fast blueberry muffin recipe. I really like this one. I got it off the internet a long time ago, and so I don't remember where it is from. We're gonna do half all-purpose flour and half whole wheat. You can vary this however you want to. It depends on what kind of medical issues you have. For example, in the MIND diet, for a healthy mind and a healthy heart, you might be using whole wheat like I am in this one. If you have a lot of digestive issues and you are following something called a FODMAP diet, you wouldn't. You would just use unbrominated all-purpose flour. Some people with a gluten intolerance would use a gluten-free flour. That's all good. 1.5 cups whole wheat flour and 1.5 cups all-purpose flour. So you can use any different kind of flour you want. But granted, if you're gonna use a gluten-free flour, it's gonna have a different consistency and a different texture than if you use whole wheat or all-purpose. We're gonna use half and half all-purpose and half whole wheat. You can use all whole wheat flour, but I find it just doesn't quite have the right chew for my family and my kids. 1.5 cups of sugar. I don't care what kind of sugar you use. You can use brown sugar, white sugar like I'm using here. If you want to use coconut sugar, some other kind of sugar, you can do that too. I gotta tell you, sugar, it doesn't matter. If it's agave or maple syrup or honey, it's gonna react in your body the exact same way. Cut the nonsense on that. I put the sugar in the dry ingredient bowl, even though sugar is considered a wet ingredient, just because it tends to mix through it easier, breaks up all those clumps and stuff like that. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of baking powder to this. I'm supposed to add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. But I have sugar in my dry ingredients and I have salt in my wet ingredients. Well, I will in a minute. The salt that I use is kind of a coarse kosher salt. And even though this is my wet ingredients, I'm gonna add my 1/2 teaspoon of salt to that. I need 2/3 cup oil. Any oil will do. This is canola blend. You can use an extra light olive oil if you want. Just don't use an extra virgin olive oil. Not only is oils lower in saturated fat, which reduces your cholesterol, I think they make baked goods taste less dry at room temperature. So when you serve muffins that have a lot of butter in them, I feel like they're too dry. I like them with a little bit of oil. 2 eggs. 2/3 to a cup of milk. I'm just gonna use the whole thing. And just whisk it to combine. Get it all mixed together. Ooh, I forgot something. 2 teaspoons vanilla. I'm heavy-handed on the vanilla. I find it gives food a sweeter flavor without adding a ton of sugar to something. So then you can cut sugar from your foods in other ways. So when I make granola, I can add less sugar if I add vanilla to it. That's our wet ingredients. So I have my dry ingredients here. About 2.5 cups to 3 cups of blueberries. 2.5, I'd say. Toss in the flour. And the reason I like to put the blueberries in the flour first is because it sort of coats them. And they tend to stay within the muffin a little bit. They don't all sink to the bottom or kind of follow the pattern of the baking process, but they sort of stay throughout the muffin, distributed evenly. I'm heavy with the blueberries too. So now wet into dry, per the rules. I have this really cool tool. So I have told you before, I like being lazy in the kitchen. If you can give yourself permission to not be perfect in the kitchen, you're more likely to cook in the kitchen, not be so afraid, and just make more homemade things, which is what you want to do. So the thing with muffins is less stirring is more. This thing actually sort of allows the batter to come together without really generating a lot of gluten or breaking up the blueberries too much, which are delicate. They're fresh blueberries. It was so fun. It took me about 3 hours though. Thank you, Michelle, for coming with me. Muffin pans, of course, I double the recipe. So this makes 2 dozen, not 1 dozen. Get yourself some good cooking sprays. Get a variety. For baking, I really like the one that has a little bit of flour in it. And you can put the muffin cups in there. I don't think muffins should have the wrapper. I think only cupcakes should have the wrapper. That is my weird rule. I'm a weirdo like that. Generously spray. Really important. I have a favorite spoon that I use. It's a serving spoon. It's like a big serving spoon. You can use an ice cream scoop. You can use a 1/4 cup measure, whatever it is that works for you. But I found this spoon is my favorite thing. It's got like this nice long oval shape to it, and I just start scooping. So I'm just gonna go along and get these in the pan. Blueberries are one of those things that are so healthy for you. I hate the word superfood. I think it implies other food is bad for you. And that's really not the case. All foods fit. But blueberries are really awesome. They are really, really good for you. They have all these polyphenols, which are chemical compounds. They're not quite like a vitamin or a mineral. They've been shown to have positive health benefits in a multitude of ways. See, look at that. Some of it's not even like mixed in, but that's totally fine. You want like clumps of flour to show up actually. If you overmix, you end up with these weird, like domed shape. Not nicely, softly domed, but like they had like almost like peaked muffins. And that's usually a sign that they're overstirred. So it makes just 24 muffins. My kids get annoyed because you cannot lick the bowl. And I do let them lick the bowl. I realize there's raw egg in here. I'm not saying you should. I'm not endorsing that, but my kids do. If you have somebody who is immunocompromised, do not do it. Seriously, that's not okay. So there we go. They can go in the oven just like this. I don't really want to though. I want to do something. I'm going to take a little bit of sugar and a teaspoon, and I'm just going to put a little bit more sugar over the top. Because if I hand my kids a warm muffin in the morning when they're headed out to practice first thing in the morning and they jump out of bed and they're all like, "My mom," at least they have something in their belly. It's about giving them fuel so that they do better on their exams or they're not so tired during practice. In any scenario, if you have your hard time getting your kid out the door because it's early and they don't want to eat anything and you know they need some breakfast, do something special like this. I'm going to put them right in the middle rack. I'm going to check them after 20 minutes and we'll see how they do. I'll be back in 20 minutes. I'm going to grab these out of the oven and they are super hot and they look and smell amazing. I used fresh blueberries, but you can use frozen, so you can make these any time of year. Just want to be careful. Get them out as quickly as you can. You don't let them rest in the hot. You don't let them rest in the pan. You want to try and get them out as fast as possible. This is what they'll look like when they're done. As you can see, whole wheat blueberry muffin that you can make anytime. Super easy. Just boom, all in a bowl, mix it up, put it in the oven, you're done. That's my tip for today. Stay well. Bye-bye.